The soldier. When we need to make war, then soldiers are enlisted. That means they are called up by the government and made to go to fight. And their arms are a headpiece here. Sometimes it has a crest on top, a decoration. And armor, which is wearing here. And the parts of the armor are the collar around his neck, the breastplate, which he wears here across his chest, the breastplate, arm pieces to protect his arms, leg pieces to protect his legs, and greaves to protect his hands, and a coat of mail which is underneath, and this is like made of little rings of metal all joined together, and a buckler here, also called a shield. This is a buckler or a shield. And these are defensive arms. They are arms to stop you getting hurt. Offensive arms are slightly different. They are made for getting hurt. They are hurting people. And the main one, of course, is the sword. And you can see that he's got a sword here. There it is. There's the pommel, and here's the blade. The sword here is inside a sheath, so it doesn't cut him. And a two-edged sword here. This is a much bigger sword, also called a broadsword. And this is put into a scabbard or a sheath, which keeps the sword shiny because it's greased, and also it stops you from getting hurt because the sword is in the sheath, and so it protects you. And these are tied up with a girdle or belt here, and this is tied around like so, or around the waist. And sometimes a scarf is used as decoration. There's also a dagger, which is a small sword, and here's a dagger here. It's sharp. It looks like a sword, but it's much shorter. The various parts of a sword. One part is the haft of the sword, which goes across like this. And that means that when another sword hits the sword and the blade slides down, it doesn't hit your hand, which is here. This is the pommel, which you hold onto with your hand. And the blade of the sword is the sharp part here. So the haft, the pommel, and the blade of a sword. And the sword also has a point at the end. And in the middle we have the back of the sword, which is the flat part here, and the edge of the sword here, which is the sharp edge. Other types of weapons are a pike, which is here. As you can see, it's long and it has a sharp blade on the end of it. It's like a long spear called a pike. And a halbert, which is here, a bit like a pike, but it has a little axe attached to the side as well. The haft of the sword is the stick. This is the haft. A pike also has a haft here, the stick, H-A-F-T, and at the end you have the blade. Also used is a club for hitting people, and that looks like this, a great big club here for hitting people. This is for hand-to-hand combat, where the two people are fighting hand-to-hand. But you can also fight at a distance using a musket or a rifle here. This is the trigger, this is the barrel, and you shoot the bullets through the barrel. And a smaller weapon is a pistol here. And these are charged with bullets, which you can see here. And the bullets come out of a bullet bag or a little magazine. And gunpowder is used as well. And here the gunpowder is kept in a little container, a powder container. Nowadays, of course, the gunpowder is included inside the bullet, and it's all in one piece. But in the time that this picture was made, the powder had to be put into the gun and then the bullet after it. And you'd have to reload the gun for every single shot. In this video we can see a gentleman loading a musket.
What the trigger is doing is moving our serpentine. The serpentine is meant to be a clamp that holds your match in position.
This is the match, which was a piece of rope that would be lit and it would glow.
But I'm going to use marking restriction with paper cartridge. Then our process is still the same. So, first step is to prime.
He's putting the gunpowder into the gun.
Cover. Cast the piece of belt. Gunpowder goes
More gunpowder into the barrel.
close the gunpowder down the barrel. We're going to pull it out. Paper is our bullet.
Then he puts the bullet in the barrel
And once you got your powder in your shot, you draw your scouring stick.
and he
You ram that shot.
rams the bullet and powder down the barrel,
Are we loaded?
and the gun is now loaded.
So are we loaded? Are we ready to fire?
He prepares the match
Yes?
by blowing the ash off the end to make sure the end of the match is glowing.
Blow the ash off. Set that into your serpentine. And align it.
And when he pulls the trigger, the match will move and touch the powder.
You don't like loud noises? You're welcome to cover your ears.
And here we go.
Present your feet. Get fire.
And he's now fired the musket. And here is a pistol being fired, the same thing again. Here we have the serpentine. When you pull the trigger, this moves down, the glowing match lights the powder which is in here. Inside here is the bullet, which has been rammed down the barrel, and we'll see what happens when the match strikes the powder. In this video we see a pistol being loaded. This is a flintlock pistol. There's a flint here that hits the steel that causes the spark, which will light the powder. He's placing the powder in the pan, here. And when the flint hits the metal here, the spark will light the powder. And of course when you pull the trigger, that will cause the flint to drop down. And the powder's in place. The bullet is already inside, and he's going to fire. Here we can see the barrel being filled . Firstly, paper is put on the end of the barrel, or a small piece of cloth. The bullet's placed on top. You knock it into the barrel, push it in part the way with a short rod, and then load it into the barrel with the rammer. Now the gun is loaded. Powder is put into the powder pan. Everything is tamped into place. The powder is tamped so it settles. And the pistol is fired.